To have a perfect life, to know all the right things to do is so important. Not only do I want to transform the way they look, but the way they think, the way they dream. All right, I'm the queen to empower them physically and emotionally and mentally. It's famous, the Dali stance. One foot in front of the other like that. Yes.
For more than half a century, one woman has been the undisputed queen of good Aussie etiquette.
They call me Miss Dali.
Some say June Dali-Watkins was Australia's first supermodel. In the 40s and 50s, she was at the very least the most photographed.
I grew up with my grandparents at a little village called Watson's Creek. Then I was adopted, and that's when I became June Dali-Watkins. People would say, "Oh, you should be a model." So I did some modelling, and way back then we were paid lots of money, like $1 for a model job. But you see, when you grow up with nothing, I knew I had to succeed to achieve, or I'd always have nothing.
But soon modelling wasn't enough, and in her early 20s, Miss Dali saw a gap in the market.
So many would come to me and say, "How do you walk like that? How do you do this?" And that's when my mother suggested I should start the School of Personal Development. Mine was the first one ever in Australia and the first one outside of London and New York. I wanted to show that a woman can have a family and have her own business. I'd get phone calls from women saying, "You're a terrible mother, go home to your poor starving children." I'd say, "Thank you very much for phoning me. I'll go home when I can."
66 years later, the June Dali-Watkins Finishing College is still in operation in both Sydney and Brisbane.
And the shape of your eyebrows means a lot to you. Yes. Yes, I think these need to be trimmed, darling. I still see them. "Miss Dali, remember me? I did your course 40 years ago." I always say, "Yes, I do remember you." Yes. See, champagne goes wonderfully with dessert. A lot of young ladies sometimes go out and drink too much alcohol.
Her students learn to talk, walk and dine the Dali way.
You place your spoon there, right there at 6 o'clock. You see young people sitting there together. Instead of communicating with each other, they're doing this on their mobile phone. I want to transform them.
And just shy of her 90th birthday, Miss Dali's mission has gone global.
Miss Dali,
3 years ago, Miss Dali and her Chinese business partner set up what she calls the Look of Success program.
Do not put your wrists on the table. You do not do that. You do not do that.
A 3-day crash course in the finer points of Western dining, fashion and appearance,
Tattooed eyebrows. No more, no more.
and of course, those all-important good manners.
I think that they are more eager than here because they've only grown up using chopsticks and they have never understood Western etiquette.
Both the course and its teacher are proving to be a smash hit.
它就像我的一个光。
之后我就看着他那么慈祥的笑，我很想跟他说 "You are so amazing."
Do we have a before photograph?
The classes like this one in Guangzhou attract young, wealthy women from all over the country, keen to learn the Western way for both business and pleasure.
正好女人要在出国之前要去英国，所以我在想，这是个不错的机会，让女人一起来感受一下，所以我们俩就来了。
对，但是我觉得我身边的人都是非常支持我，他们也希望我变得更好。
对于中国改革开放30多年，在未来日子当中，我觉得会有很多人会开始去思考关于修为。我觉得现在已经是个趋势了。
The Chinese society is extremely competitive. So knowing Western customs, knowing anything that other people don't know, is one of the things that gives you distinction, that allows you to stand out from the crowd.
Cultural studies expert In-Ji Go believes the success of Miss Dali's etiquette classes represent a broader shift within Chinese society.
The number of people who are reasonably well off has increased dramatically in the last 30 years. And so you have an increasing number of people who can afford to travel in Australia, who can afford to send their kids to study in Australia. They need to know how to relate to them, how to speak to them, and how to behave towards them. That's not a case of Australians or Americans or Europeans imposing their own customs on China. It's because there's a market for it.
And it's a big market. Miss Dali's courses are run from the finest hotels, with students paying as much as $4,000 a head.
If they were cheap, then the Chinese people would think they weren't important. They want to be westernized. The Chinese, they really want to understand how to conduct themselves when they're outside of China. You say to your brain, switch on.
But Miss Dali believes her classes aren't just about etiquette.
The one-child policy, everybody wanted to have a boy. Now I want to make women pleased that they are female.
At the graduation ceremony, there's no doubting the classes are already having an effect on her students.
Thank you.
东西文化完全不同，我们中国人注重礼仪，西方人更注重这种开放的这种交接和交流。我觉得中西合璧完全的是非常完美的。
And with 6 trips to China under her belt already this year, Miss Dali says she has no plans to retire.
As long as they want me there, I will, because I love it. Good etiquette is to be the best you can be, to be a lady wherever you are in the world.